Hi everyone, today we're going to be doing this glowing pumpkin. This is from Ivy Ninku Butterfly Halloween download that Johanna kindly popped on her website for us a few years ago. I will link to the download for you. Now we're just going to concentrate on this pumpkin and then be able to use the same technique for the other ones. Just wanted to keep it fairly short. Now first of all, we're going to do the glowing part, which is the eyes and the mouth, etc. of the pumpkin. And I'm going to do it in a similar way to how I did the windows here, which you may have seen. There's a video for that as well. So I'm going to start with a cadmium yellow, and I'm going to go around the edges of the eye holes in this dark one. Obviously we want to give the impression that there's a candle inside that's glowing. Now when it comes to the nose and mouth, they're very small, so can't really do more than one colour. You see I'm pressing quite hard here to try and get a nice bit of yellow down, because yellow doesn't show up massively well. So I'm just going to fill that with the colour, and the same with the mouth. There isn't really a lot I can do with putting in other colour, so I'm just going to leave that one. But for the eyes, as they're a little bit bigger, I'm going to use the light cadmium yellow and just do a layer inside. I'm going to try and leave a bit of white, it's quite hard to see, in the middle, and that's him. He looks quite glowy, but what we're going to do is emphasize that with how we colour in the actual pumpkin. So we're going to start with a nice dark orange, which I've just noticed I need to sharpen. This is the, oh you can't see that, the dark cadmium orange, and I'm just going to sharpen it, sorry about that. And we're going to start around the edge of the orange of the pumpkin. Now I'm thinking he's going to be dark underneath, but I'm going to put this darker colour all the way around the edge, and you'll see why, and I will add some shadowy effects afterwards. I tend to just see how it all develops. Now I'm thinking he's going to catch the light here, but he's also got the glow around here. That's why we're keeping it dark around the edge. I'm just going to lightly scumble a layer out here so it blends. So sorry about that, my telephone rang. So I was explaining that we're just scumbling this colour out to the middle a little bit so we can blend it in with the next shade of orange that we choose. Now pumpkins aren't this really bright orange colour, but this is a cartoon after all and a bit of fun, but we're going to tone it down a little bit towards the middle with the orange glaze, and take a layer of orange glaze, just slightly overlap it over the layer we've got already, and then pull it towards the middle. You can see that's a lot less bright, but we will darken it down a little anyway with some other colours in a minute. So just take that all the way around, and as I say, scumble it round so it can be blended nicely. And then we're going to go for this next one. Now this one, he's so short, he hasn't got a name on him. 111. I shall put all the numbers in the description for you so you can know which ones to grab. Basically I'm working down through the oranges in the Polychromos pencils, in the 120 tin, just working down through all the shades. They've done all the work for me. So I'm just gently pulling the colour through, and our last one will be, I think this is a yellow. I think it's something chrome yellow. Again, I shall put all the colours. It's the next one down in the tin. I shall put all the colours down for you, and I'm going to take this one right through to the middle. Now when you cut your pumpkin, you get a bigger hole than that, so we're going to try and work on that next. So we're going to go for a slightly browner shade of orange, so I'm going to pick this one. This is the Sanguine, sorry, put it right out of shot for you. The Sanguine, I'm going to sharpen it though, it needs to be quite sharp for this. And I'm going to go around the bits that are cut out, the eyes here, and right over the top and just out slightly around these, just to try and make it look like that's a little bit thicker of a line because we would be, if we were looking into the pumpkin, we'd see the bit that was sort of sliced through, and then on the mouth as well. Now I'm also going to blend some of this. Oops, I don't want it to look like it's got lipstick on. I blend some of this into the where I think it should be darker. So down here where I think there's shadow, I'm going to start blending away a bit of this in, and you can see it becomes a bit less fluorescent orange as well. And I'm going to take a bit all the way around the edge. Now I want to darken the edges because I want to make it look more rounded in shape, and the shadow can give the illusion of a more spherical item. I'm going to blend that in over several layers of the orange there, and I'm actually going to take it right up to there. That's that, and now I'm going to just take my dark sepia. Now I'm going to be very gentle with this. I want some more dark down here, but I don't want to make it too dark, so I'm just going to add, you can see how it's very easy to get quite a lot down. Don't want it going too mad, so just a touch around here, gently blend it in, and then the same around the edge. See, I'm just doing the very smallest bit around. And then I'm going to go back over with the Sanguine to just blend it in. So right over the top. Now some pencils blend a little bit more easily than the polychromos. Although I like these a lot, you do have to put lots of layers in to get them to blend nicely, but I find that's good because you can slowly build it up. You can have a look and see what's going on and whether it's looking how you'd hoped. So I'm just trying to make it so we haven't got any obvious lines. Now the last bit I'm looking at is these lines in the top. Now pumpkins will often have a little line here. I'm going to emphasise that with this colour. There we go. Now what I'm also going to do is the leaves and the top. Now I'm going to use my favourite greens. Unfortunately, teeny weeny favourite greens. You can't even see the number because it's worn off. This is the earth green yellowish, I want to say, and the May green are my two favourites, and they're both, the May green's even shorter. Look, I think the May green is the slightly paler of the pair, but I will double check this and write it clearly for you so you know exactly what's what. Now I can take my little pale May green and just go over all the areas I want green, just to start with. Just go over them all, and just with a very light layer. You can probably barely see that as I'm doing it through. Now I like to do this so I can get an idea of what quite's going on with the leaf. It can get me thinking that, you know, there'd be shadow here, but we need to be aware that this light is going to be illuminating some of the leaf as well. I try not to get too, I've got a bit of grass growing over the end of the leaf there. I try not to get too fussy about light and shade. It can get quite complex, but I do try and consider it a little bit. Now we're moving on to the slightly darker one. So these areas that I identified that would be shadowy, this is where I'm going to think about pushing more of this colour. And under here, definitely, we'll probably really darken that up at some point. But I'm thinking this bit is going to be lighter, so we'll do the ends of the leaves. Now this is all a bit pale, but, and of course there'll be some shadow between the two leaves there, but we'll, I've got some darker colours in mind to go over the top. Here I think darker here, and then lighter towards the tip, especially you've got the light from these candles, you can't see, will be coming down onto the end of there. Right, so now I'm going to pick a much darker green. This is the Chromium green Opaque. And again, it needs sharpening, as all my pencils always seem to need to do. And we're going to go into this now and really emphasise these darker areas. So along here to start with, really getting some colour down, scumbling hard and drawing it out though so that it can be blended into the leaf. We are going to put other layers of colour here too, and the same with the ends. So go down hard in the corner and scumble it out with a lighter pressure. Now I'm not really sure whether this is the right colour for a pumpkin leaf, but I wanted it to look very different to the grass. So that's the idea behind this. And the grass, I've got a few ideas for the grass as well. It's not necessarily going to stay like it is. I had the idea of maybe putting some black flowers in it to make it look a bit more scary. We'll see what happens. Okay, so we've got that in all the areas that I want darker, and I'm going to go back to my probably earth green yellowish and go right over the top of it to blend it in, because it's a bit liney, but not take it all the way through, because we want, now I'm thinking that's closer to this side than this, so I'm going to darken up this side a little bit more, leave that a bit paler. Here it's more even because we've got the light coming from above all of the leaf. Just pull that out a little bit. Now I want to add some yellow into the leaf. Now what I find quite nice is if we use colours that we've used close by, it seems to tone together nicely somehow. So I'm going to use the cadmium yellow, which we used in the eyes, and I'm going to use a bit here to make it look like we've got this reflection coming down, and the same here. And then I'm going to take my May green and I'm going to use it to blend it all together. So I'm going over all of it. I'm not going over all the yellow, but all of the other green, and just bring it in towards the yellow so that it blends in more nicely. Now I still am not happy with the shadow. It's nowhere near dark enough. So I'm going to get my friend the dark sepia, and we're going to start putting in some more defined shadow under here, because it's going to be quite dark under here. And you can see I'm running along the black line that Johanna's drawn, and then just gently pulling out some of the dark. And I keep looking and thinking, is that enough? Is it not enough? So that I don't want to do too much because it's very difficult to remove, but I want to make sure it's enough. So it's just adding layer after layer and checking and thinking. And I also check in the camera lens, viewer thing as well sometimes, because that gives me a slightly different perspective. It can be good to go and stand right away and look, you know. I'm thinking I like that shadow, but it's making me feel like I need some shadow on my grass underneath, which is something I won't do now, but I think I will. Now I'm really going to go in deeply under this leaf here, under here, to remember, you know, it's night time, so the shadows are going to be dark. There we go, and there he is. I'm quite pleased with him, but I think I'm just going to go around these eyes with my sepia, and what that will do is it will make them look even more glowy, because you've then got the contrast between the sepia and the yellows. So I'm just going to do that, and it looks like the shadow of where he was carved. So there he is, a little glowy pumpkin. Now I'm going to do all the others on this page to match. You could of course do them different colours, because people use turnips and things in years gone by, so you could do some ones that are, you know, a little bit different. But there we go. So I hope you enjoy that. Thank you for watching, and happy colouring.